Welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you.
This is actually a video of your grandparents, great-grandparents. What was it like to see this footage?
It was staggering and remarkable. The ceremony, we were here for the Stolperstein ceremony in their honor, had been in planning for several months. And then just about 2 weeks ago, Robin, who is planning the ceremony, came upon this film and sent the film to us, not realizing that my grandparents were in the film.
And you recognized them right away?
Well, my daughter, amazingly enough, recognized them in that 4-second clip just from having seen family pictures. She sent me a still that she took from it, and I looked at it and I wrote her back saying, "My God, what is it? What is this? This is my grandmother." So it was just a remarkable...
No doubt. I mean...
No doubt.
Here they are, yeah.
And from there, it's just become more and more of a moving experience.
Yeah.
And for you?
Well, it's been a cathartic experience for me. I was born, post-Holocaust in the 1960s, and it was always a fact of life that this had happened to my family on both sides. And actually visualizing my grandmother crying on this cattle car and living that experience for a moment was incredibly shocking, but then I cried with her and now feel like we've come full circle of getting to visit Westerbork.
Yeah. What do you mean full circle?
Well, for a long time, I imagined maybe they didn't really see their deaths at Auschwitz. Maybe they somehow escaped and the documents are wrong. This solidified the fact that it really was them that boarded this train on May 19th, 1944. And we came for this Stolperstein ceremony with all of our family and visited today. And now I feel like we have some sense of closure.
Closure. Yeah. That's
It never really closure, but there's a sense of peace. And knowing the details provides.
Ik denk, ja verdomd, ze zijn het.
Yeah.
And what happened then, Lia? After you got the first screenshots?
Well, I actually took the screenshots myself. I saw my great-grandmother looking at me and rewound the footage, and it was confirmed when I saw the man that looked just like my grandfather, who I knew very well. So it was, immediately, for the first time in my life, I cried. I had never actually had an instance where I cried about the Holocaust, and then I felt some release.
Because part of the film almost seems to be casual, with Germans walking around and people waving. I mean, it's so casual, and then this is a very dramatic picture. These older, elderly people.
From what I understand, the filmmaker was very brave to have taken a photograph of a woman crying and people actually on the cattle car because he was assigned the task of making it look like a happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today you both went with Robin to Kamp Westerbork. How was that experience for you?
We were there this afternoon. We saw the location of the barracks where my grandparents had been held. Saw their names in the book that is kept there of all, and with the destinations and where they were born and so on. And it also, by the way, showed my other grandparents. All 4 of my grandparents perished in the Holocaust. My father's parents at Auschwitz, my mother's parents at Sobibor. And in fact, I really very much personally relate to the whole thing because I was born in Germany myself, and my parents escaped in 1938, end of 38.
They fled to Holland.
and fled to Holland, where we were in a refugee camp. One of the things that I reflected on was how fortunate we were to be in the refugee camp, whereas my grandparents were able to live in the community. By living in the community, they saw no great reason to leave, and so they were trapped in the invasion in May 1940. We had left.
Quite a few of your family members escaped and fled to the United States.
Us to the United States, and my uncle and aunt had fled earlier to, and they settled in London.
Is this,
some
this
of
is
our,
you in this picture?
Is that me?
Yeah?
No, no,
the little boy? No?
Behind
that
you?
one.
Behind you?
It's my,
Oh,
it's my
sorry.
grandfather.
No.
Oh, sorry, that one. Sorry, sorry.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
you with your grandparents?
That is me with my grandparents.
Yeah.
I stayed with them part of the time while we were in the refugee camp because my parents didn't think that was the appropriate place for me to be.
Yeah.
So they sent me to my grandparents for a while, for a couple of weeks, then to the other grandparents, then to my uncle's boss. And so I kind of, but I look fairly happy, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Who was that for you?
Some kind of closure, maybe. Seeing these pictures, knowing what actually happened. Is it the same for you? Some kind of closure, and this is finalizing this. Not really finalizing, of course, but I mean...
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah.
And I think it also gives us a channel to finding out perhaps more information about them now that they have been identified in those pictures.
And already Robin has gone home today and found some information for us on my other great-grandparents. And we hope that this helps connect many more families.
Wat heb je uitgevonden, Robin, hoor? Right?
Yes, indeed. and one other thing I would like to mention, at the Stolperstein ceremony, the new technology also is a QR code placed, which leads to further information about the people in the listed on the stones. Robin had my granddaughter, Leah's daughter, place that stone. And I think that's very meaningful and symbolic of the hope that future generations will identify with us too, and will realize what happened and
Learn the
hope
lesson.
that there's a better future with, you know,
All
without
persecuted
recurrences
minorities.
of this sort of.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you so much for your story.
Thanks for being
Thank
here
you.
after the emotional roller coaster. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dit was